Alrighty, today it's a very rainy day. We actually have a cyclone hitting us right now, so it's pretty intense. But it gave me the idea to speak about creativity because I was watching a video of a guy who does these style of videos that I've started doing, and I quite enjoy this kind of content. But he was speaking about creative blocks and the struggle he has been putting on himself to come up with ideas and the pressure that creates. And this just comes down to a simple misunderstanding of what creativity really is. See, the ego aspect of your psyche likes to claim things. It likes to say, these are my ideas, these are my thoughts, these are my actions, mine. But when you really get creative inspiration, when you're really in that zone of being creative, if you're observant enough, if you're aware enough, you'll realize that you're actually not coming up with anything. You're not creating any ideas. You're not thinking these thoughts. They just come to you. They just appear in your mind. They just go through your mouth, pause, and they act on their own accord. And when you try to be creative, you're trying something that is actually impossible. You're trying to control your thoughts. You're trying to create ideas. How can you create something that you don't already have? You're trying to do something that is inherently just not possible for you to do. And this will create pressure. This will create maybe a bit of anxiety, that feeling of angst. It's going to feel uncomfortable because you're trying to do something that the mind is not designed to do. If you want to be creative, it's about getting into a meditative state. It's about allowing things to happen and trusting. It takes a lot of faith, which might sound odd, but it takes faith in the sense that you have to let go and trust that whatever needs to come to you will come to you. Whatever thoughts you need right now will be shown to you. Like right now, for example, everything I've said in the last 3 minutes, if I was to call these my ideas, if I was to call them my thoughts, my words, that would be incorrect. Every single word I've said in this video, I didn't think of. The very topic I didn't even think of. The simple idea to speak about creativity in this video simply came to me. I didn't think it, and every individual subtopic within this higher topic of creativity, none of this I've come up with. Even these words now are just coming through me. I'm just a vessel, a vessel for energy to flow through and express itself through the filter of my experience, of my individual identity as a individual being. But the actual energy, the thoughts, the knowledge, the intelligence, it would be incorrect to call that mine. Because it's really not mine. And I used to have this as a child as well. I was very gifted in primary school. I kind of became a dropout in high school because I hated that shit. But in primary school, I was very into school because it was a lot more fun at that time. And I used to get in trouble with my teachers. And I remember they told my mum about this. And she always talks about it because she thinks it's hilarious. I used to get fails on my assignments because the teacher would say explicitly that you have to explain your working. You have to explain how you figured it out. But I would just write the answer. I wouldn't explain how I got the answer. I just knew the answer. And they were trying to tell me Zion, you need to explain your working so that I know you understand, so that I know you didn't cheat or whatever. I don't know what they were getting at. And I was trying to explain to the teacher that I didn't figure it out. I don't know how I got that answer. I just know the answer. I just know what it is. Like, it would be some bullshit, like 7 times 7. And they'd be like, how'd you figure that out? I'd be like, I don't know, it's just 49. And they'd be like, yeah, but I need you to explain why that's the answer. But I don't know why, that's just it. And I've always had that. This just knowing. I just know things. I don't know how I know them. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's some spiritual beings giving me this. I don't know if I'm just lucky. But I don't think it's unique to me. It's just, I've always had this meditative state as quite a baseline reality for me. And by being in this meditative state of allowing yourself to receive information, it opens you up more. And I used to be a big stoner as well. People say weed makes you creative. Weed doesn't make you creative at all. What it does is it brings you into a meditative state. If you're not abusing it. If you abuse it, it's completely different. But if you use weed in a constructive use case, then what it does is it makes you more present, more meditative, which allows you to bring in more information. Weed is a great plant. It can really teach you a lot of things by bringing you into a state of consciousness in which you can experience higher energies, which can allow these things to come in and express themselves through you. And I think a big part of it comes down to trying to force. Nothing in life can be forced. You can't make things bend to your will. You cannot make things happen. It's about being in a state of let go. When you try to force things in life, everyone knows this. When you really try to figure things out, when you really try to be creative, it becomes impossible for you. Because it's a simple misunderstanding of what creativity even is at a fundamental level. You're not creating anything. In a sense, maybe. But what you're really doing is about letting go and allowing yourself to be creative. Allowing the energy of creativity to flow through you. And it takes a really meditative mind, very meditative being to even allow this. And it takes a level of discipline and resistance to the ego mind. The ego mind will tell you the entire time, oh, you're so smart. Oh, you figured it out. You're a genius. You're this, you're that. And it feels cool. It's very charismatic. It makes you feel nice, these thoughts. Allow them to exist there, complimenting you, whatever, making you feel nice, but do not become attached to them. That level of detachment allows you to continue that let go, continue that creative energy, to the point where it can just flow indefinitely. And the ego mind will tell you things like, oh, you're not creative right now, you're blocked, this, that. Let go. Flow of energy. Detaching yourself from the ego mind and identifying yourself as no, I'm not going to go into identity in this video. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Just that creativity. And if you do want to be more creative, if you have that desire to create, and I think a lot of people do, learn, I don't want to say meditation because it's very misleading, And a lot of people use meditation as a escape, but about becoming more meditative. By meditation, not as an activity, but meditativeness as a aspect of your being, your day-to-day, just being more meditative. And allowing it to not play out the way your ego wants it to. Not, I need this idea now, just allowing yourself. And then it will happen spontaneously. You'll be drinking your coffee, eating lunch, and a genius revelation will just boom, fucking boom. That is really how it happens. No creative insight is ever intentional. And if you observe your own life of the times you have been creative, you'll see. You didn't come up with it, it just appeared. It just came to you spontaneously. And then your ego claimed it as, whoa, I figured it out. No, bro, it just appeared. And the last point I'll touch on is when you lack creativity. Not when you lack creativity, but when you lack the expression of creativity. When you have creative energy, it's a very positive energy, but when you do not allow yourself to express that, when you're a naturally creative person, but you do not express it, when you don't create, when you don't build, when you don't, it can be the most basic thing, like art, music, poetry. I don't know, no one does that shit anymore, but poetry, writing, build a business, whatever you want it to be, whatever your creative expression is, when you don't allow that to happen, that exact same energy still exists. That creative energy in you is there, but it doesn't have a means of expressing itself. And what it will do is it'll find a way to express itself. If it cannot be expressed through a positive output, it'll be expressed through a negative output. And that same creative energy will be transmuted into negative energy, destructive energy. And that's why you see people going down paths of drugs, sex, degeneracy, things that don't actually bring you fulfillment, because it's that creative energy being transmuted into destructive energy. Because without the expression of allowing it to happen, it'll find an alternative way to be expressed. And it takes a very keen level of awareness to understand what is actually going on in that situation. Yeah, that's all for today. Creativity,